with the idea of all of the stress and overwhelm that's to come, struggling with the busyness that's on its way in your life. Listen, my friends, the struggle of the juggle is real. My name is Amy Ballantyne. Welcome to Power to the People Pleasers. I'm so excited to be here with you today in this solo episode talking about recognizing the struggle, recognizing the thinking, the pre-thinking that's happening, the stress of looking into the future and allowing that looking into the future to cause us an abundance of overwhelm. I just wrapped up a coaching session or series with a client, and we had worked together for a number of months. And originally, she came to me because she was feeling a significant amount of anxiety, a significant amount of stress and overwhelm, juggling her life as a parent, as an entrepreneur, as the sole provider of care for her children. And she was in a pretty dark space. I'm not sure if you can relate to that. I know I've certainly gone through ups and downs in my time as being a mom and wife and entrepreneur. And it was really interesting to hear the things that have shifted for her in this time that we've worked together. One of the areas that I talk about a lot with clients is awareness is the key to change. It's the first step. If we don't have awareness about what's happening, we can't make change. So if you're someone who is struggling with being in that forward thinking, what's to come state of overwhelm, I would invite you to become aware this week. Let that be your mission, perhaps. To become aware, to take note of, get a piece of paper and a pencil, and perhaps give yourself a simple tally of any time you catch yourself speaking about or thinking about the stress of what's to come, the stress of what's to come tomorrow, next week, next month, in 5 years. Notice, notice how often that's coming up. The secondary step would be to notice what is the moment right before you start that thinking. What's the trigger that causes you to think that? Maybe it's walking by a certain picture in your house that reminds you that your kid is almost driving or going to be getting the license soon. And what are the stressors that are coming with that new stage? Or perhaps it's a specific meeting that happens each week in your work. And that is a trigger for this big project that you know is coming down the pipeline. Get clear on your triggers. Get clear because that's the first step. We cannot shift what we are not aware of. The other thing that I would add on as a third part to this is to really ask yourself. So once you're aware of what the trigger is and you know what you're saying to yourself or out loud about this, the next step would be to really stop in that moment and ask yourself, is that true? With more seriousness. Is this actually true? Now it might feel really true that you're feeling a lot of stress and overwhelm. Not as I'm not asking you to question the feeling. I'm asking you to question, is the statement that you're making that perhaps it's going to be horrible, right? Making the statement over and over, it's going to be horrible when, or it's going to be so hard to do this. Is that true? Part of it probably will be true that it might be hard. It might be challenging. But there is an opportunity for us to shift our thinking in that moment around, okay, self, part of that might be true. It might be hard. But the other side of it is recognizing that you are way more resilient than you're giving yourself credit for. You have way more problem solving skills than you're giving yourself credit for. You have overcome so many things. And this is important to recognize. This step is a critical step to recognize that you have the opportunity to question, to reframe, to shift, not to ignore. I'm not suggesting that we ignore how we're feeling. We can honor how we're feeling and, not or, and shift to a better feeling thought. So if you still feel aligned to say, it's going to be hard when, but I know I can get through it. I know I've faced harder things than this, and here I am on the other side. That is a more powerful place to come from when facing these future moments that we have coming up from a place of empowered energy, right? She mentioned also this new ability to celebrate things. How often have we been in a state of being where we get on the train of despair? I talk about this all the time. We get on the train in the spiral of despair and we start the negative thinking, and then this leads to another negative thinking pattern and another one, and we just find ourselves going down and down and down and around that that train ride all the way to the bottom, feeling horrible. One of the powerful steps that I've found to be really effective for getting off the train, only riding the train for a couple of stops and saying, wait a second, is the power of celebration. I think I could speak about this all day long. I really deeply believe with my whole heart that if we can lead into our lives, into our moments in the day with recognizing, you know what? Good job, me. I got out of bed today. Good job, me. I brushed my teeth. I brushed my hair. I had a shower. Good job, me. Right? It's not about getting a giant head and becoming pompous and arrogant. I think we've lost something over the years of growing up later into our life, right? Let's say after the age of 20, where for whatever reason we stop noticing and really using that awareness of our positive moments in life as fuel and motivation to do the next good thing, to do the next hard thing, maybe. Recognizing that each action builds on the next action. I read Atomic Habits recently by James Clear. It is an amazing book. And he talks about how powerful habits are ones that build off of one another. And so I like to add in celebration as a piece to that powerful habit when we are recognizing that we have done the thing. That actually is motivational fuel to keep going to the next thing. And so when you're in that state of overwhelm and stress and chaos, to stop and say, wait a second, what is one thing that I could celebrate right now? What is one thing? And maybe what's the second thing? I love when I'm having conversation with clients, I always start with, what are we celebrating today? And it's so awkward and uncomfortable for them for a few of the sessions. But this beautiful momentum starts being created in that they start to realize that there's far more in their life that they can celebrate. There's far more. And this puts us in that positive state moving upwards into more positive feelings. And I deeply believe that when we're in that positive state, we can take actions that are more aligned to the person that we want to be. I really believe positive state leads to more positive actions as opposed to being in a negative state and then trying to force ourselves upward into that positive action. I really believe that if more people could shift into this purposefulness and intentional action of celebrating what is going well, it it could make a tremendous difference in their mental well-being. Shifting back to, you know what is one small thing that I can celebrate myself for? It's very powerful. Another thing that she shared was being able to vocalize thoughts in a way that, sometimes when we're vocalizing to our friends, they might just agree with us. That makes us feel like we're not alone, certainly. But being able to vocalize things and really hear what it sounds like, because I was repeating back some of the times the things that she was saying so she could hear what she was actually saying. This is a really powerful moment for a lot of people, for them to really hear what they're saying, the words that they're choosing, the words that they're putting out into the universe, into that sphere of energy around them, the people around them. What are those people hearing from them? Often can be very, very powerful. She had a lot of shifts in her thinking. And I'm so happy that on the other side of this, she came to realize that all along she had been living the life that she wanted, but she was stuck in an old frame of success. The old belief of success was no longer relevant to her current life, and she was evaluating based on this old model. And when she realized this, it was almost like this deep sense of peacefulness coming over her. And uh, she used the word contentment, happiness, realizing that she had lots of good things happening around her. And the way that she was in the past is no longer relevant to who she wants to be going forward in the future. So I would invite you this week to take note of, if you have the desire for improvement in your life, in yourself, to begin getting aware of what are you thinking and saying to yourself that may be holding you back. Secondly, recognizing where you can notice the triggers that are causing this. And third, seeing if you can shift to a slightly better feeling thought that actually recognizes the other parts that are true, that you are resilient, that you are stronger than you remember, than you're giving yourself credit for, that you have got through hard things and you will get through this. And lastly, recognizing that celebrating the big and the small is fuel for you to keeping on, to keep moving forward in your life, to keep taking action. We can get on the train of and ride the train of despair down the spiral of despair. We can get on the train, we can stay on the train, and we can feel stuck and overwhelmed and yucky feelings. We can do this. We also have the power to take baby steps to noticing and getting off that train sooner, recognizing that truly there are things that you are able to celebrate and taking that opportunity. I hope that you found this podcast valuable today. I want to invite you to check out my website, amyballantyne.com, or for coaching, ballantynecoaching.com. I am so grateful for your time and attention and for you tuning in yet again to Power to the People Pleasers. Stay tuned for our next episode coming soon. Have a great